Hello! It has been a while since I made a normal video. I wouldn't say this is normal though. Welcome to this video. Today we're gonna talk about bottom growth, the T-dick, the cornichon. Apologies if the light keeps changing. It's not my fault, okay? It's the sun. Blame the sun. I put up a story on my Instagram asking you to send in as many questions as possible about bottom growth. You did not hold back. We have a lot of questions to dive into today, and I am going to be as open and honest and share as much as possible so that you are ready and prepared. Or if you already have bottom growth and you're just here, then enjoy. Disclaimer though, I will only be speaking from my own experience and from what I've heard from other trans guys. So these are not necessarily facts, and obviously if you don't want to hear anything about sexual things to bodily words, then don't watch this video, because I'm gonna be, like I said, I'm gonna get into it, all of it, and be very specific. So if you're not here for that, then watch my other videos. All right, let's get into the questions, shall we? The most common question was by far, does it hurt? Is it painful? Does it hurt when you sit? Does it hurt when you walk? Does it hurt when it's growing? So first of all, everything's gonna vary from person to person, right? Everyone does not have the same anatomy. Everyone does not look the same between their legs. Since we are all different, it's gonna feel a bit different. But what we all have in common when it comes to bottom growth is that when it grows, it's gonna be uncomfortable. And how uncomfortable that is also varies. I wouldn't say that it's painful, and I've also heard a lot of other guys say that it's not gonna be painful. Like, you're not gonna walk around and be like, it hurts so bad, you know? If anything, you're just gonna like feel it all the time for a short period of time. And that's because a T-dick or bottom growth is that your clitoris, which is like typically it's more like a ball, and there's skin covered around it, and when that grows, it's gonna come out of the skin. It sounds pretty gross, but it's not. So it's gonna come out of the skin, and since it is very sensitive, it's not used to having fabrics on it, it's not used to being like touched all the time by different materials. It's just gonna feel like you have to like pull your underwear all the time down, because it feels like something is rubbing against it in an uncomfortable way that makes you very much aware of your genitals. What helps is usually to wear like looser underwear. Sometimes, honestly, that was even worse for me, because kind of the fabric moving around so much was even more uncomfortable. So for me, it really helped to have tighter underwear so that it just like kept it in place. Try and see what works for you. Like I said, we're all different. So what can hurt like a little bit sometimes is when you have to clean it and wash it, because you have to use the shower head and just clean it off, otherwise it's gonna get nasty. That might hurt a little bit with the water that comes out of the shower head. All of this goes away after some time. For me, that was like 3-4 months, and then now that I'm one year and 3 months on testosterone, I can like pull it hard, and it's not going to be painful. Try to see it positive. As long as it's uncomfortable, it's probably growing. I heard bottom growth is the first thing to happen on T. How should I prepare? Generally, it is the first thing you feel on testosterone. Personally, I felt it within the first week, and I know that a lot of other people feel that way too, that the first couple of weeks you can feel some like pinching, can feel like weird. Like for me, it felt like someone was like pinching the tip. So most likely it's going to be the first thing that you notice on testosterone. And how you should prepare is maybe just to learn a little bit about bottom growth. I'm not saying it's a huge deal. It's not going to be a huge difference, but just learning like how to clean it, maybe get some underwear that are a bit looser or are a bit tighter. But other than that, there's not much. Like, oh wait, one thing that you should do before you start testosterone, and this might not be for everyone, but I wish I did it, and you might wish that you did it later, and that is to take a picture of what it looks like before. And I know that can be uncomfortable. I personally would not want to do that, but it's gonna be very helpful for you later to know how much it has grown, how different it looks, and that can actually be helpful and help you with your dysphoria to know that things have actually happened, it has grown a lot or whatever, and that could be really reassuring. But sometimes it grows really slowly and you hardly know how much it has grown and when that happens. So I don't remember at all, barely, what I looked like before. I just don't remember, and I never used to look because it just made me so dysphoric. But if I had a picture, I would definitely look at it and be like, yeah, there is a difference. So I wish I'd done that, and that's something you could do to prepare. Okay, so I think What the hell? Okay, so I think I see something growing, but I could be wrong. How can you tell what's what? And I actually remember feeling the exact same way because I knew that I started to feel something, but I didn't know if there was a difference or not. So this is when I say you need to take pictures, but I also know and I understand that not everyone is going to be comfortable with that. So here's some explicit shit, okay? But the easiest way to see if it's actually growing is to like pull back all the skin that you have. The thing that's actually growing is going to be what's under all of the skin. So basically what was the clitoris is what grows longer. So if you pull back all of the skin, it's easier to see how much is growing, if that makes sense. Because otherwise it can just be very confusing with everything else that's going on under there. So yeah, that would be my tip. All right, next question was also a very asked question, and that is, how long can it grow? This also varies a lot from person to person. So the same way that people who are assigned male at birth have different lengths of their penises, the same goes for when you grow a TD. Some people are gonna grow less, some people are gonna grow more. But of course, it's not gonna grow as a full-length wiener. Like, that's just not gonna happen. I don't know the exact number of the maximum length, but let's use this. Let's say before T, it's 1 centimeter covered in skin. I would say typically it grows about this much to like 4 centimeters, but when it gets hard, it's gonna become longer and harder, obviously. So then it can grow a little bit more. This also depends from person to person how much harder it gets and longer when you're aroused versus when you're not. And it's the same principle as for also people who are assigned male at birth who have a penis. Some people are growers, some people are showers. The same goes with your T-dick. I would say if I guess from what I've seen, I would say the maximum length would probably be around 6 centimeters. I don't think it would go above that. I could be wrong, but it's not gonna, that's what I mean. It's not gonna be a full-on like sausage. It's gonna be a little thing. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question. Does it get hard? Yes. How hard and how much longer it gets varies from person to person. But for me personally and for some other people, more of the growth happens when you start touching yourself or pleasuring yourself or having sex. It's gonna get even harder and bigger up until you have an orgasm. The difference is not that big. It's gonna depend, but yes, it does get hard. Again, how big can it grow? And can you wank? Cough. Wank. Like, I mean, it's not like you can put your entire hand around it and do that thing, but you can definitely use your fingers to like pull back the skin to masturbate like that, especially when it does get longer and harder. For some people, it's easier. For some people, it's more difficult if you have a little bit of a smaller bottom growth. There are other ways to masturbate. You don't have to do that specific thing. Personally, I don't like to touch it with my hands because I'm so dysphoric, but for some people, that's what they like to do. To some degree, yes, you can wank. Sorry, there are actually 2 people that asked if you can grow balls. So I'm just gonna say, I wish, but you do not grow testicles. You cannot create sperm. Everything else is gonna say the same besides your T-dick clitoris growing a bit longer. Someone asked, is it like, ah, or is it like, you know what? Hell yeah. Personally, I would say the actual bottom growth process and having a T-dick is, you know what? Hell yeah. But since I still have so much bottom dysphoria every single day, that whole thing is, ah. Does it affect / enhance pleasure? I start too soon and I'm really curious. I say it definitely feels different and it enhances pleasure because the most sensitive part of your genital area is gonna grow bigger and longer. You have more like nerve endings, I guess, and more ways to pleasure yourself. You're just gonna feel more in general, probably, which is just nice. And it is more sensitive in a positive way, which obviously is nice. Can you penetrate with it? This was also something that I was wondering before I started because I was like, oh, I have so much dysphoria when it comes to sex and intimate moments, and there is nothing that I'm comfortable with that my girlfriend does on me. So I was just hoping, praying to God that bottom growth would save me. But then again, most likely it's not going to grow to that length you need to actually penetrate a hole and make it grow like through the hole. It can definitely poke into the hole, and just like be there and kind of like by the way, if there are any kids watching this, like, please don't. Yeah. So you can definitely like move around or like rub against the person's parts. What can be easier to like be able to reach is if you like pull the skin back as much as possible, because then your T-dick is gonna be able to come out and poke out as much as possible while you're doing it. And then, like I said, from there, just try to experiment, try different things. There are no rules when it comes to sex. Like, do whatever feels good to you. Next question. What is pumping and is it safe? I'm not super educated when it comes to pumping. I've heard a little bit about it. I watched some reviews for like pumps, but basically it's like there are different types of pumps, but you can put it on your T-dick, pump it, and the pressure or the suction will make your T-dick bigger and a bit longer. And then in some cases you can use it for penetration. I'm not sure if I'll want to try it in the future, maybe not, but it is an option. I don't know how safe it is. I'm pretty sure it's usually safe enough to do. I'm not sure enough to give that much information on it, but you can definitely look it up if it's something you'd be interested in. Respectfully, what does it feel like to get a boner? For me, it mostly just feels like tingling between my legs, and I just feel some sort of tightness, if that makes sense. Like kind of when you're flexing a muscle, but without actually, like if the muscle flexed itself. And if it was very, very small, I would say that's how it feels. But it's not like extreme. Like for me, I feel it for a very short amount of time. And then unless I like start doing something, it's gonna go away within like a few minutes. In the beginning stages of T, it could happen like randomly, like me sitting at the bus and then I just feel that. But now it mostly just happens when I actively think about sex, which can also happen randomly, but you get what I mean, okay? What's a good toy for it? To be honest, I haven't tried that many different toys. Some people like to use a stroker, which is typically like a penis prosthetic that's a bit soft, kind of like a dildo, but usually a bit shorter, a bit chubbier, and it has a hole at the end so that you can put it on your T-dick, create a suction, and then you can sort of jerk off or wank or whatever you want to say. Personally, I haven't really made it work and made it feel good, but some people like it. That's definitely an option. Again, I'm not sure. I haven't really looked into it. I'm not that into toys myself, but then again, there are many different options out there, and I'm sure you can just Google it, watch YouTube reviews for different types of toys, and see what you like. Can you get morning wood, LMAO? Personally, I have not experienced that. It's not like I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm getting a boner, but it might happen to some people. I haven't really heard anyone talk about it. It makes sense that it would happen. I don't feel that way in the morning, but some people probably do, so I'm sure you can. Best way to clean. I would just say when you're in the shower, try to shower every day, and when you're in there, use like some medium to hot water and make sure to pull the skin back on your bottom growth, because that's where stuff can get caught and like build up. Do you know what I mean? Sounds pretty gross, but and then that's it. I would say just water. Don't need any soap, don't need any of those types of products, just use water. All right, we're gonna move on to the final question, which is kind of 3 questions in one. Do you like it? Is it better than before? And can you do other things now? So this is more gonna be my own thoughts and perspective in general on like bottom growth and my experience with it. So personally, I like it more now than how it was before. It's clear that it doesn't look the same as genitals look on cis women. Like it doesn't look the same, it doesn't feel the same, and that's why it feels slightly less dysphoric than what it did before, because it feels like 1% more like myself, but I still feel so incredibly disconnected to my parts and to what I have and to what it looks like. So for me, it's helped, like I said, a little bit, but I still have so much dysphoria and I still feel so uncomfortable with that area. I can't even try to use it to its full potential. You can definitely do other things. Like I've mentioned, you can still somewhat like wank, you can still rub it against someone, you can still try to penetrate, you can still, you know, get head, and like, it's kind of like someone sucking on it instead of like what you do otherwise. But personally, that's not something that I've tried. Like I don't let my girlfriend do anything on me. She's never seen me naked. She's never seen my parts. I barely can look at it myself because I'm so extremely uncomfortable. Even though I have bottom growth, it still doesn't feel like me. It still doesn't feel like what I see if I close my eyes, if you know what I mean. So until I have bottom surgery, I don't think it's gonna get better, unfortunately. And that's just in my case and with the amount of bottom dysphoria that I have personally. But I know that for a lot of trans guys, it helps tremendously with bottom growth. Like for some people, their dysphoria went from 100 to nothing, or maybe to just a lot less. And that's just my personal take on it. But I still hope this video was helpful to you. I hope you learned something, or at least that it was educational. If you want to hear more things like this, I actually have a podcast now with my best friend Hunter called Trans and Transparent, where we talk openly about stuff like this, like when it comes to bodily things and social things, like everything. So I will have that linked in my description, as well as all my other socials and my online coaching. So check that out if you want to, and please give this video a like for how much I dared to be open about this in front of the internet. I would really much appreciate it. I will hopefully see you in a new video very soon. Bye bye.